Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And also Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe according to Big C and them good old boys down south. We want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America. Thank you for following Big C Sports as well as across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Thank you for following Big C Sports. And also our good friends up in Canada. We love you so much, Canada. I'm going to try one more time. Whoa, Canada, our home and native land. That's not funny, Big C. I did my best. And you know there's no one I love more. Okay. I feel like I'm on that tryout show for America's Got Talent or something like that. But you know there's no one I love more than the land of the free and the home of the brave. How's it going for you good old boys down south, Big C?
I'm doing good. Just got some bacon grease on my lips so I can have a nice smooth show.
Yeah. We call it chapstick out here, Big C.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but it makes me glide right through the night and everything. And this week we have a full podcast. We gave a flow from, content.
Yeah.
Content dropping, and just have a lot of fun tonight.
That's funny, Big C. And today is a beautiful Black History Month. It is February the 16th, 2017. I want to thank Black History Month and also African American History Month. So much has been accomplished by all people in this country, but we know the history of African Americans, just like the phoenix. Sometimes you're down, but you're not out. You just keep fighting, and you just keep making it happen. And also I want to pay homage to one of our Hollywood stars by the name of George Takei, and he had an article in the paper about immigration, and he says this ban by Trump is divisive. And I want to say also, Big C, before we get into that this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive it, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, again, you got that Cadillac all washed off, or you're still keeping it muddy just to keep the integrity of the program? Big C, your thoughts?
When I got back home last night, they had a little jet fuel dripped on it,
Yeah.
dropping, from sitting out there in the parking lot. But it's okay. It's really good, She was able to rev up the engine and roll down the freeway.
Yeah.
It was dark outside. Nobody could really see us,
Yeah.
Highway patrol in sight, everything was all right.
That's always fine. But I just want to bring something up about our show, Big C Sports. Number one, I love hearing some of the things we talk about mentioned on CNN with the great Wolf Blitzer, and also a lot of sports shows are trying to put in a little bit more politics. There's still a lot of dumb sports shows that they only talk about the score of Big C, so we leave that up to the high school kids and the junior high school kids. But I do want to say, George Takei, he was one of the gentlemen that played in Star Trek, the Star Trek movie with Leonard Nimoy and who's that brother that's Priceline? Captain James T. Kirk, but his real name? Yeah, Captain Kirk. And so, Star Trek had, I think, Lieutenant Uhura. William Shatner.
George Takei was, Lieutenant Sulu.
Yeah.
On the show, Charlton. There's a tremendous cast of characters. When you look at it, it was one of the first international casts on a TV show in American history. Well, when you look at everybody on that show, you had all of the Eastern European bloc, you had the Asians, and the African Americans. You had, Spock, who knows where he was from.
Yeah.
When you just look at that, the diversity of NBC and, Gene Roddenberry, who was the director and producer of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Who, after he was deceased, one of his ashes dispensed in space, and he went up on one of the space shuttles, Charlton, and that was his final resting place.
Wow.
But, you just think about, how iconic America was back in the 60s, with the invention of Star Trek, Charlton.
Yeah.
It's what America was made of. It's the multicultural melting pot. The opportunity for everybody, tear down those walls, bring us your tired, your weak, your poor. Let them become the fabric of our country. Opposite of what the current president is talking about.
Yeah.
He's wanting to alienate so many ethnicities of this country, Charlton. He wants to go back to the alt-right. It's basically what Banyan is running, the alt-right.
Yeah.
If you're not white, blonde hair, blue eyes, he's having a problem with you. When you look at his staff, Charlton, you look at the complexion of his
Yeah.
But this is what he's gunning for.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a subliminal message that he's sending to America, but all you gotta do is open your eyes to recognize what he's doing.
Yeah. It's part of that eugenics thing where everybody's homogenous and they all look the same, and sometimes you even have a little bit of inbred, and which some people don't understand, but that can happen too, Big C. But I just want to bring this thing up because Star Trek is something that every person, you just mentioned it, everybody felt included. And it's about the United States reaching for the space and trying to see if there's other life on other planets and other people out there, that we're not alone. And you look at the Trump administration, what would Captain Kirk or even Spock or Lieutenant Uhura or George Takei, what would they think of Donald Trump's administration in 2017? It's almost like going back in a time warp, Big C. And I'm not being flippant about it, but if we're going to go forward as a country, this is like we've slid back. Do you know what it's like sometimes going up a hill and that Escalade and it starts to slide? You got to put on that skid control, Big C. You know that feeling? That's what it feels like in the White House, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't know what it does in a lesser issue.
Okay, yours is automatic. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's the mainstream. But, you know, when I think about the theme line of Star Trek,
Yeah.
Go where no man has gone before. That was America striding, Charlton, up until its recent presidency. To go where no man had gone before. When you look at the history of this country, how it was built, through all the strikes, through all the separation and device in this country, the racism, the oppression, Charlton, you know, it came together.
Yeah.
You know, eventually it came together, even though there's still growth to go in America.
Yeah.
Charlton, we're not growing right now as a country. Like, this is the most divide. And I'm not a young man anymore. You know, it'd be nice to be able to go out and run a 10-yard dash.
You can run it, but you might have a good time beating Rush Limbaugh at least, Big C. You won't come in last place. Yeah.
But you know, when you think about the growth of this country, where this country has been heading,
Yeah.
you know, nothing but positive. You know, we've had stripes in this country, talking, but we've always come together.
Yeah.
But you know, there's been more divide in America in the last 30 days probably than it has been in 50, 60 years, Charlton. This is the most divide we've seen as a country. And driven as one individual who seems to be placating all the blame on everyone else,
Yeah.
whether it's the media or whether it's, you know, another country. He has nothing to do with it. You know, I heard this today of his press conference when he said he knew of no one in his cabinet that had any affiliation with Russia. And yet this photograph of Mike Flynn sitting at dinner with
Yeah.
this photograph and footage of the current Secretary of State.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name at the moment, but
Yeah.
the guy from ExxonMobil.
Yeah.
You know, hanging out with Russia, receiving a medal of dignity from Russia. And Donald Trump had the audacity to sit there and lie to the media, lie to the world, lie to America. So he knew of no one that had any affiliation. Not only that, he said he's never had any affiliation with anybody in Russia.
Well, Big C is.
So I don't care what they say about alternative news.
Yeah.
Kellyanne Conway couldn't speak today because she knew he was lying that day. But now, trying to hold a straight face,
Yeah.
lying to America,
Yeah.
too much damn makeup on, you know, looking like an orangutan up there. You know,
I understand.
This is becoming totally facetious, Charlton,
Hey.
of what he's doing to American dignity.
Well, a lot of times people don't read Big C, and you know he's had his affiliation with trying to own professional sports teams. The New Jersey Generals, they went bankrupt. He also tried to buy the Buffalo Bills. They said no, and now he has someone in his administration. I think the father of one of his kids, that his son-in-law, they're trying to buy the Marlins, the Major League Baseball team down in Florida, Big C. So they have some affiliation with sports. But Trump has dealings with Russia that go back to 1987 when he was trying to develop some luxury hotels, and that deal fell apart with the Soviet Union at the time. 1996, he had a lot of his bankruptcies that he had was tied to a lot of his bankruptcies back in 1996 with Donald Trump. Also, in the early 2000s, he had developed projects, and he got money from Russia. He also got, in 2007, his super premium vodka. It opened in Moscow, Big C. I believe that's still in Russia from the last time I checked on the map, Big C. And also his son, Donald Trump Jr., has investors in Moscow. I think that's part of Russia. Maybe he doesn't know that Moscow's part of Russia, and he still thinks that Cedric Douglas is a good American, even though he helped craft the Emancipation Proclamation, Big C. And the last thing about Trump, in 2016, his campaign, and we know all the ties to Russia. And again, if CNN would do their honest work, they would reveal that he still owns about 20% in a Russian bank, and that would lead to what they call in the United States, where they try to impeach a president for lying. Well, if they dig deeper, they'll find it. It's just hidden under some trust, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know if anybody has to dig deeper. I think everybody has their cards on the table and they're just waiting on the right time.
No, not Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh choker. He's been choking so much. I thought he had too much Oxycontin. He and Sean Kennedy, they're all like sweating on TV. They have to turn down the heat lamps or turn on some fans, Big C, with Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. Your thoughts? Yeah.
On Fox News, he's had enough of the lies from Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He's calling out Donald Trump. Even though you might be an advocate as a news station,
yeah.
To be a journalist, you know, your journalism is based on your integrity.
Yeah.
You know, just like in any walk of life, John, your integrity means so much.
Yeah.
And these guys have built their careers on integrity. And you know, they follow the lie of Trump. They play the lie of Trump. But even these guys who wanted to play the lie of Trump are starting to realize we're playing Trump.
Yeah. Even the Labor nominee Puzder, he withdrew because at some point in time you have lifelong politicians, and the question whether you're a Democrat or Republicans, do you really want to throw your whole life's body of work away for someone who's a fascist and a bigot and a sexist and a racist, and all of a sudden he's a liar, Big C? Unless facts lie and alternative facts maybe they do. He's been connected to Russia a lot longer than he's been connected to his political visions of trying to become the president, and Russia helped him get that done, Big C. So for all the politicians, whether you're in the House or the Senate, they'll be up for re-election too. They'll be up for another vote to see if they can keep their office. And all the American people, whether you're dumb or smart, you're going to realize that you got tied to this guy who spends more time focused on Mexico and deporting what they call illegal aliens as if they're not people than he does to Russia, which has a spy ship off the coast of the United States, Big C. Your thoughts on that? We'll touch on some more sports.
Well, I got to think about how many Eastern Europeans are in America illegally.
Yeah.
Over here under various means.
Yeah.
In the state of this country, and there's never been any talk about deportation of them. We're going after ethnicity of a darker complexion.
Yeah.
Not the ones that look like him. And when I look at these Eastern Europeans, Jonathan, we're talking about criminals. We're talking about mobsters, Jonathan, that are in this complaining this company, drug lords.
Yeah.
They don't all come from South America, Jonathan.
No.
A lot of opiates come from the Middle East. Okay?
Yeah.
From the Middle East and to the Russian connection.
So
when you talk about that, Jonathan, and you think about what is the biggest push on drugs right now in America, Jonathan, is heroin.
Yeah.
Heroin is not coming from Mexico, Jonathan. It is coming from the Middle East and the Far East.
Yeah.
So those guys are the ones that are importing it. Mexico, chip in with marijuana, will stick easy, will be blue. But you're talking about the heroin deaths. This is what America needs to look at when they want to talk about criminalization in America, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Look at the rapid rise in heroin deaths in America. They talk about the violence in Chicago. Look at the rapid rise in America, Jonathan. In January alone, 241 heroin deaths in America.
Wow.
January alone, okay?
Wow.
No one's talking about that because that's the right drug of choice, Jonathan. Heroin, getting to the next high. So, you leave that alone. You want to talk about the little street peddlers doing a little marijuana. I'm not saying I'm an advocate for anything, Jonathan.
Right.
If it's natural, it's natural.
Yeah.
But, heroin kills people. It has always killed people. We've had an epidemic in this country, Jonathan, since World War II when they were using the opiates to help the soldiers out there were injured.
Yeah.
And in the Vietnam era, Jonathan, it just went apoplectic.
I tell you, Big C.
These drugs, Jonathan, are epidemic, and they're not an epidemic in the minority community, but they're an epidemic in the Anglo community, Jonathan, so it's kept quiet by the mainstream for the most part.
Well, Big C, that's why we have Big C Sports, because we're not just dumb sycophants, and I hope that that people can understand that sports will bring people together. You'll probably find the same things. In fact, they are talking about it on CNN as much as we talk about it on Big C Sports, as well as sports shows. And I just want to say the last thing before I hit our next commercial. If you look at the House of Representatives, there's 239 Republicans, 193 Democrats. Okay, in the Senate, you have 52 Republicans and 46 Democrats. You got to understand, if you're a voter, You have someone right now that's not on the up and up, and the media knows it. They're just taking their time with it. But our whole American democracy is at stake. It's being compromised, and that's just not right. If he spent as much time trying to do with Russia as he did going after President Obama as a birther and trying to find his birth certificate, that should have told a lot of people what it was like. And I also want to say tonight's segment is sponsored by the California Lottery. What can a buck do for you? Big C, I keep saying the Kellyanne Conway way. We've already won the Lotto, Big C, won by Charlton at Big C Sports, and we're going to take that money and we're going to buy a post and a seat in the Trump administration. Big C, your thoughts? Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to help out the fake educations in America, Jonathan.
That
it's going to help the fake, school systems throughout the United States by contributing to their slush funds, Jonathan, to help out the academics of the youth of America.
Well, I think that's funny because even in when you look at what's happening in the House of Representatives and all the members are tied to it, there's just so many people, 432 people total. You have 337 are white, 46 are African American, 33 Latino, 12 are Asian, and 4 they call other. I guess that's people that have, whatever other is. I never knew there was an other race. That's the alternative fact, BC. And as we get into the alternative fact of sports, so much talk about sports we've talked about. Even Trump, one more thing, he just won't go away, Big C. Not yet anyway. But he's passed on the NCAA tournament, bracket the way a lot of presidents have been doing it for years. President Obama did it for the women's and men's bracket, Big C, where he, gave his thoughts on who might win and make it to the Final Four. And Donald Trump has declined to do it. And any thoughts on declining to do it, Big C? Is it perhaps because most of the athletes that will stand there winning the national championship are African American, and he wants to get himself out of it right now, Big C? Yeah. Yeah.
You can't change the bracket, Charlton, after you've been blown out in the first round.
Yeah.
And that was my alternative bracket,
Yeah.
Because I lost 33 of the 34 games. That was an alternative bracket.
Yeah. That's funny.
You think about this, and this goes back to President Charlton for a long time. You think about President Kennedy used to host the All-Americans, the Kodak All-Americans at the White House, the All-American football team.
Yeah.
That's where it really started in sports. You remember Richard Nixon who set in on a national championship game between Texas and Arkansas.
Yeah.
Once he took over the White House. I remember the late President Gerald Ford, who was an All-American center in football at the University of Michigan, going back playing with the Wolverines. Them Harbaugh hang out now.
Yeah.
But you think about the presidency, Charlton, over time, how they've been involved. President Clinton, inviting players to the White House. The first President Bush, inviting players to the White House. The second President Bush, and President Obama, who made it iconic, Charlton, because of his interaction with the players. I mean, having that youthful vigor, having these athletes, not just being the commander-in-chief, Charlton, but being a true fan.
Yeah.
That's what you expect of a president. Really being a true fan of these tremendous athletes and their accolades, and he's proud to have them at his house and host a party and dinner for him, Charlton. But you hear Donald Trump, to him, athletes are lowlights.
Yeah.
Because there's too many minorities that are involved in the game.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know how to speak to them, and he knows his stance on minorities, and he knows these guys have no personal respect for him. They may respect the office, Jonathan, but they have no personal respect for him. And I think that's the one thing that's being lost in the presidency these days, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Is the personal respect for the person. Everyone respects the power of the office, but you have to have the same command as the person running the office to the American public to be appreciated. He's just lost that, Jonathan, and he's even losing with his own party. They just don't know how to walk away.
Well,
it's like being on a date and you're waiting on your buddy to call you back and get you out of here. That's what it's like for President Trump in the White House right now.
And your buddy won't call you because he's out with the girlfriend. That buddy is that. Is that the funny you talk? He's like, oh, she can't talk right now. Her cousin just showed up in town. Okay, I've met people like that in the past, Bixie. That's funny. You keep bringing up wounds, Bixie. I thought I was over that situation. But speaking of being over something, I just think it's so funny. And I love Big C sports, and I love the politics side because I love intelligent people. That's the only way I learned. But you know, coming up in the world of sports, we have this great game called NBA basketball and the NBA All-Star game. I know you're going to be heading down to the great state of Louisiana, Big C, eating a lot of gumbo and fried catfish, Big C. Yeah. Right. Well, how did they? You know, we got kids that listen to Big C Sports too, so we got to keep it clean. It's okay to drink Gatorade and drive, Big C. Just don't do it until you hit a stoplight. That's what I hear the good old boys tell me out here at Big C. Also want to say this segment is sponsored by United Labor Guaranteed Life Insurance up to $100,000. And that's without any medical questions. We are also endorsed by the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society. We work with all of the unions in the country under the AFL-CIO, and we're looking to hire over 1,000 licensed insurance brokers because we want to put people back to work. Also with One Life America Life Insurance, we pay your E&O up to $1 million per agent. Now, who does that? I tell you, Big C Sports does that. If you're looking for work, tweet out to us on Twitter at YesCharlton or follow us on the iHeart Radio Network. Big C, all of this talk in the NBA, and I know you love NBA basketball, with Westbrook and also Durant being on the All-Star team. I don't think that's going to be a problem with Coach Kerr playing those guys together or apart, because a lot of guys that play on a team, you don't necessarily like each other anyway. That's just the ego that some athletes have that makes them competitive. Do you see that being a problem? If you were coach, would you put them on the floor at the same time? Big C, your thoughts? Yeah.
You have to have something to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, you want to create this controversy between Westbrook and Durant. These guys were teammates for several years in Oklahoma City, Charlton. That wasn't a problem yet. They both wanted to be stars. But in time, Charlton, so many players separate and go their separate ways to become stars on other teams. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the true be-all of what they are. This is an all-star game. This is about entertainment. This is about professionalism. Something we don't have in the White House of America right now, called professionalism. These guys go out because fans pay their money, night in, night out, to see the great entertainment. Even during the season, when they compete against each other, personal feelings aside, they're out there to play competitively in a game, okay?
Yeah.
That's what they're out there to do. Who's out there creating the negative aspect of Twitter? The media, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, they care less about what the media says. They just play into it, that's all.
Yeah. Well, remember you brought that up too. If you think about back in the days when the Lakers were running and they had Shaquille O'Neal and they had Kobe Bryant and they had some type of an issue about girlfriends and wives and all that jazz, and Kobe couldn't keep his mouth shut, and Shaq made a rap song that said, "Tell me how my Kool-Aid tastes," or whatever he said. Big C. They didn't get hung all the time, but they managed to shake hands when the game tipped off, Big C, when Shaq was traded to Miami. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, that's what professionalism is all about. I mean, you've seen Westbrook and you've seen Durant play against each other, Charlton. They have shaken hands. Charlton, let's go out the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
How many great players have moved from teams and gone to other teams? So, Charlton, this is the history of professional sports. I don't care whether you're looking at basketball, baseball, hockey, football. Wayne Gretzky, the greatest of all time, Charlton,
Yeah.
had to leave Edmonton.
Yeah.
He and Mark Messier and Gary Curry remaining friends. His mom was still the center.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you talk about sports and players moving, you hit them everyday thing.
Billy Martin had an issue with the owner of the New York Yankees, Steinbrenner. They were always arguing. They were always in each other's face. There would be things that Billy Martin wanted to do that Steinbrenner did not want him to do in Major League Baseball. And Martin knows what he's talking about because he won a couple of World Series, so that kind of makes him qualified. So does Steinbrenner. Now, they were kind of pitted at each other in the media. But these guys, all they wanted to do was win, and they were not so dumb that they were going to allow their feelings for each other or against each other to stop them from being great at the game of baseball. Your thoughts on that, Big C, that relationship?
Well, when you think about Billy Martin, you know, was a winner at every level. He was a winner as a player. He was a winner as a general manager of the Yankees. He was the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
We have a modern day situation like that, Jonathan, in Dallas with the Cowboys, okay?
Yeah.
But when we think about Jerry Jones, his ego, because Jimmy Johnson, that's all the media wanted to talk about was Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was Jerry Jones who went on the press conference.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Johnson got tired of it, saying, you need me more than I need you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He brought in Barry Switzer, and all Barry did was win with Jimmy's players.
Yeah.
And then after that, he couldn't win, Jonathan. And Jerry got rid of him. You know, and every coach that he's had now, Jonathan, since then, has never duplicated the success of Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, this man was iconic. But when you get an owner, Jonathan, who wants to be the face of the franchise, that franchise doesn't get anywhere. We see that with Atlanta, Jonathan. We see that with the Falcons. Arthur Blank constantly being down on the sideline, emulating Jerry Jones. You can't do that as an owner, Jonathan. This is the reason why you go out and you hire director player personnel, you hire a general manager, you hire a head coach, you hire assistant coaches, Jonathan, for them to do the job to get your team prepped, whether it's in baseball, basketball, football. You think about an owner of an NBA team, Jonathan, trying to be involved. And the most involved we've ever seen is Mark Cuban, although he has won an NBA title.
Yeah.
Because he sits down with the fans and courtside, Jonathan. He doesn't want to be up in the luxury box. And there's a few other owners that are like that. Paul Allen with Portland and Trailblazers and the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
He likes to sit amongst the fans, Jonathan, because he's a real person, regardless of what he has money-wise. But, you know, you get these egotistical owners that are out there that disband programs, Jonathan, that disrupt something that a general manager or a career coach has built because of his ego. I want to be responsible for that because I like the paycheck.
Well, you know, you know I know you were down at the Super Bowl, but you just brought something up that I just thought about now that you said it. We talked about, you know, Jerry Jones always being on the sideline and wanting his players and his coaches to know that I'm the boss and I'm right behind you blowing your ear. You know, when Atlanta had the lead, I think it was 28-3 over the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Everybody was rolling. They kept showing the press box when everybody's happy and dancing. I looked later in the game when the Patriots made their comeback. Did you notice, was Arthur Blank down on the sideline or not, Big C? Did you recall that?
He had come down on the sideline, Jonathan, in the fourth quarter of the game. He was down on the sideline. He was celebrating with his wife.
Yeah.
He was already with charge out on the field. But, you know, as the game waned to his end, Jonathan, he looked like the cat that ate the canary.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, he might have been able to set the big roll on. He wasn't feeling too well, you know. He reminded me of this actor in the movie Ghost with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
The guy who committed the crime in the movie, and he walked in. You know, when Mr. Goldberg was talking to him, he said, "Oh, you know, I got enough tricks."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the dignity of ownership. You come down once the game is over. Paul Allen came down once the game was over, you know, when Seattle won the Super Bowl. Same thing with John Elway. You know, he came down, even though he wasn't on the director of operations there. You know, he didn't come down on the field even because he's been there as a player, Jonathan. He knew that it was the players and the coaches' time to shine. Let them have that limelight. It's so fleeting in professional sports. You think about all the greats in all the sports, Jonathan, that never won a title. You know, we talk about Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player of all time, Jonathan, won 5 NHL championships in the city of Edmonton, okay? Never won one in Los Angeles, Jonathan.
Wow.
Never won one. He was the greatest player on ice and never got a championship in one of the greatest cities in America. Because you gotta have the right chemistry. He got to the finals once, but he wasn't able to culminate it with a victory.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the opportunity of athletes to be able to relish in that moment, as an owner, you can always get back there, Charles.
Yeah.
You can always get back there. But as a player, you may never get there, or you may never get back there. So let them enjoy that.
Big C, that's a very good point. I want to say this segment is sponsored by Big C Sports and Athletic Insurance. Whether you're a professional athlete or a collegiate athlete or high school, even your mom and pop soccer leagues, get insurance through Big C Sports through Ben and Mark. We can insure athletes in all 50 states in the United States of America. Tweet out to Big C Sports at Yes Charlton on Twitter, and follow us every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the iHeart Radio Network. Big C, is interesting that you bring... Yeah.
We're talking about never get back there again, okay?
Yeah.
There was a Super Bowl played down in his neck of the woods, where Kansas City, the old stadium that they had, that was 1984.
Yeah, the Dolphins and Niners.
Dolphins and the Niners. And Dan Marino, in his second year as a starting quarterback in the NFL, took the Dolphins to the Super Bowl to face Montana.
Yeah.
But they were run over the game, but everybody said he will be back, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody said Marino would be back. 15 years later, Dan Marino never showed up again other than as a spectator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
15 years after that, he never showed up again other than being a spectator in the Super Bowl. When he was retired, he was renowned as the greatest quarterback of all time in the NFL halo.
Yeah.
And he never made it back to the big game again, Tom. And you have to look at the one-game wonder of NFL quarterbacks that have gone to the Super Bowl that have never returned.
Yeah, and he's a Hall of Famer, Big C. So it shows that it's like that girlfriend you met back in high school, Big C, and she's the most beautiful woman that you've ever laid your eyes on. And then you go to college and you realize she probably wouldn't even get your attention, especially with all that moonshine you good old boys drink down south, Big C. But sometimes you got to take advantage of things while it's there in front of you, and you got to win it now. And I know that's the word for all sports athletes, because that window of opportunity, it closes. And as you bring that up, Big C, I'm thinking about one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played college football is Vince Young. He just went out to hire Lee Steinberg as his agent. And Lee also follows Big C Sports on Twitter, so hello, Lee. And also, he's trying to get back into the NFL. Now, when you think about this guy, he sets records in the Rose Bowl playing against Michigan and playing against USC back-to-back in 2004 and 2005, Big C, at the Rose Bowl. And he got a chance to play NFL football. He went 36-19, and he couldn't find a job. And they're getting guys like Goff and Wentz out of college and giving them a chance. And now a lot of people, they have to realize this guy has already shown you that he's NFL talent. Why? I mean, I don't know the personal stories behind that, Big C, but with someone with his talent, football, why would it take him so long to get an opportunity to go back to the NFL, Big C?
Well, we're talking, when you look around the NFL and you look at some of the backup quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's just the reason why they've been backups and career backups.
Yeah.
Vince Young proved himself as a starter. He had an off-the-field incident that everybody admonished him about and basically blackballed him from the NFL talk. He showed that he could win. How many quarterbacks got kicked out of the NFL
for winning?
For 4 to 5 seasons, Charlton, for winning and not getting a job again. That's what you have to look at. When you have a lifetime losing quarterback, Jay Cutler, keeps a job.
Yeah.
He's a lifetime loser, Charlton. Jeff George was a lifetime losing quarterback in the NFL. Great talent, great arms, losers.
Yeah.
And they kept jobs. They had careers that lasted over a decade and couldn't get a team out of the locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always lived on their potential.
Yeah.
He had the potential to be this. He had the potential to be that. I remember several years back when Mike Flynn was signed by Seattle out of Green Bay after he had one great game.
Yeah.
Matt Flynn, rather. He was a backup quarterback, career backup in Green Bay. Seattle gave him $15 million. They drafted a kid.
How much did they give him? How much?
Gave him $15 million for playing one game in Green Bay and passing for 6 touchdowns and 500 yards, okay?
Wow.
So they gave him $15 million. Then all of a sudden they drafted this kid in the 3rd round out of Wisconsin. Damn, they go to back-to-back Super Bowls with a guy that was making nothing, and they had to cut the guy that made $15 million.
That's
they sent him to Oakland.
Wow.
Oakland had him.
That's
Oakland, they drafted a guy in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
The 2nd round draft. What did he do? He became one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL in 3 years.
Wow.
Where's Flynn? Nobody knows. But, they paid this guy like he had never been productive. Vince Young has been productive and won consistently, and yet he can't get a job.
That's incredible.
The only difference is, Charlton, is skin complexion. You can come up and say anybody has a problem in the NFL, Charlton. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
When you got players playing on pharmaceutical narcotics, these guys have problems. They have psychological problems.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. The NFL has a psychological problem because they're playing on pharmaceutical narcotics.
Isn't that something?
That's the nature of the game, and no one can deny it. Teams can't deny it. Team physicians can't deny it. Players can't deny it. You may not talk about it,
yeah,
but you're dealing with pharmaceutical narcotics on a daily basis to be able to function at a high level in that game. And so, you know, we saw it in the movie Concussion.
Yeah.
There. It's unspoken. Don't talk about it, okay? Just
Yeah.
don't tell anybody. But you know, I remember years ago, Jack Youngblood. Defensive end with the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, he was a stud.
He was out of the University of Florida. You know, number one draft pick in the Rams years ago in the 70s. They were playing the Dallas Cowboys in a playoff game. NFC Championship game, okay?
Yeah.
Robert Staubach was the quarterback. Jack Youngblood played that game on a broken ankle, okay? He didn't tape an aspirin to it, Charles. Let's be realistic, all right?
Yeah.
He did not tape an aspirin to his ankle, and it was broke, and he went out and played 60 minutes of hardcore football.
Yeah. So the movie North Dallas 40 with the great Nick Nolte, you're saying that it has some realism to it, Big C? Yeah, that's funny. Big C, in the final 5 minutes of the program on Big C Sports, you know, I want to say this segment is sponsored by Business Credit for all of you out there with the credit cards in your pocket, and it makes you look like you have a lot of money in your wallet, but it's just credit card stack. You need business credit. You need business funding. You need your Dun & Bradstreet. Tweet out the Big C Sports at Yes Charlton on Twitter and follow us on the iHeart Radio Network. Big C, as we close out the program today, I know you're going to be heading down to the great, well, I won't even say where you're heading. I'm just going to say somehow you're going to be, okay. I understand. I apologize. I should have drank my moonshine. Are you saying I could be part of the Trump administration telling all the secrets, Big C? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, Big C. In the last 3 minutes, just want to get your thoughts. Jared Goff, we talked about the great Vince Young in California, out of California, Berkeley, and now he's out there. He's actually working out in LA, and they're trying to make it an issue. But I want to close out the program. I heard some prognosticator, can't remember his name, saying that Deshaun Watson, who's been to the last 2 national championships, you know, Big C, against Alabama of all teams, the team that has most NFL talent, and they're saying he's not ready for an NFL starting position. Does that make any sense at all, Big C, as we close out Big C Sports today?
Well, we're talking, I'm going to call this guy out. The guy's name is Mike Mayock, okay?
Yeah.
Mike Mayock was a practice player with the New York Giants when he came out of college, out of Boston College, okay?
Yeah.
He couldn't find his way onto the roster and on the practice field.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden now he's become this excellent analyst on the NFL Network. You
Yeah.
know, he was on NBC up doing Notre Dame football games. They asked him, okay?
Yeah.
Doug Flutie was better. And now all of a sudden, you know, he's this expert analyst, a la Mel Kiper and Tom McShay,
Yeah.
who knows more about athletes than they know about themselves.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's iconic, Joker. You know, last year everyone said if Deshaun Watson had came out, he'd have been the first player taken in the draft, okay?
Yeah.
And he lost to Alabama.
Yeah.
He took his team back and kicked Alabama's butt, the 33rd NFL team, all right?
Yeah.
He beat the 33rd team in the NFL, and everybody said, well, no, he's falling off. His stock has gone way down.
Yeah.
What quarterback out there in college football in the last 5 years, okay, talking, not the last 2, not the last 3, the last 5 years has had more productivity over a 2-season run than Deshaun Watson?
No one.
You go to back-to-back national championship games, Charles. You think about that. To go, what did he go last year? 13-2?
Yeah.
And this year he goes 14-1?
Yeah.
So I'm not good at math, but I think he might have won more than how many wins did Goff win in 3 years? 14?
Yeah. 14 and 26 for Goff.
So what you're saying is Deshaun Watson, who won as many games in his senior year as Jared Goff won over a 3-year span at Cal, is not a better quarterback? Come on, let's throw the stupidity out, guys. Okay, let's stop playing the black and white game.
Yeah.
And be honest with yourself.
Yeah, I Big C, that is so true because, and just like the thing with Charles Oakley up in New York at Madison Square Garden, a lot of times, a lot of black men just aren't treated the same by the media because if they can sullen him and make you think he's Kellyanne Conway, what you see is not what you see, then they'll find a way to justify not giving him top money.
Look at the quarterback who was drafted in front of Russell Wilson in the first round.
Yeah.
Okay, which one
Yeah.
Okay? He's been there twice.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was too small and not talented enough to play.
Yeah.
But the white guys who were drafted in the first round have watched him play in 2 Super Bowls and also been in another NFC championship.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's think about this, Jonathan. These experts who have it figured out because the white guy is 6'4", 6'5", 220, and got a laser cannon arm, but can't read the funny pages, okay?
Yeah.
And all the talent in the world, but
Yeah.
how the guy is not talented enough to win.
Well, Big C, I want to ask you one final question before we close out. Lee Steinberg, one of the top agents in the history of sports, not just in the United States, but anywhere in the world. If he's willing to take a chance on Vince Young, he's not trying to hurt his reputation. What does Lee Steinberg see that some of these NFL guys haven't seen, these GMs that would not give Vince Young an opportunity? Your thoughts, and we'll close it out.
You know, the thing about Lee Steinberg, jumping over the history of Lee Steinberg, he understands professionalism. He understands sports. He understands the game. You know, you got these guys who are these so-called draft analyst experts.
Yeah.
That's what they are, analysts, okay? They're not experts. They just do that title all by themselves. No one named them an expert.
Yeah.
You know, I remember years ago when Bill Bowman, you know, with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
And he has, and I use that phrase wrong, but he has your buddy Todd McShay. When was the last time he drafted somebody? Not Todd McShay, but Bill
McCarthy, yeah.
He drafted somebody.
Yeah.
You know, when was the last time we ran a football team?
Yeah.
Now, Bill Bowman has been to a few Super Bowls. He went to, I believe it's 2 with Indianapolis and 4 with Buffalo.
Yeah.
So he may have had a little expertise in what he was
Yeah, he might know something about it.
Versus Mel Kiper, who was beaten by a monkey back then.
You said the monkey picked 80% right and Kiper picked 22. Is that what you said?
Just because you got a good head and a type of speech that you nothing in people telling you things, don't make you knowledgeable. Mel Kiper, if he walked out on a football field, would probably pass out.
Yeah, he and Rush Limbaugh. But I gotta tell you, I know you gotta run, Big C, but I want to say it's always great talking about real talk. And sometimes for our brethren to listen to real talk, you got to realize there's always been this pushback on the black quarterback way back in the day, Big C. It's always been. And now they do it at the college level. They'll take a kid out of North Dakota State who never really played big competition, and they'll get all their energy and money to him. And a guy at Cal Berkeley that was 14-26 in 3 football seasons and make him a #1 pick, and a guy that set the Rose Bowl record 2 years in a row against Michigan and USC, which were Big Ten and also Pac-10 champions at that time. And they're saying, well, he doesn't have what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. Doesn't make any sense, but everything makes sense every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network. Follow Charlton and Big C Sports every Monday through Friday. As we always tell you, there's never any room for domestic violence. If you know any woman going through that garbage, call 911. And also, as we tell you, every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide, follow Big C Sports on the iHeart Radio Network. And as we always tell you, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.